Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If we could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mary, if you could help us with the roll call, please.
Alderperson Saloga.
Here.
Barron.
Here.
Valdy.
Here.
Dean is excused. Grimmer.
Here.
Casson.
Here.
Hiker.
Here.
Mayor Atwell.
Present.
Administrator Hafner.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a special order of business to do tonight. The mayor appointment of Molly Schneider to the position of city clerk effective May 6, 2021. And we're going to do the official oath.
Hey, Ken,
Yep.
before that, do you want to get the council confirmation?
Okay. I'm anxious to get her on board. All right, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to appoint Molly as a new clerk.
I'll second.
Great. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Okay. Version number 2.
All right.
Okay. Do you want to stand over here?
Great.
It's for the picture.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Mask off.
Oh, mask off. You guys are pretty demanding.
Just you wait.
I'm prepared.
I, Molly Schneider,
I, Molly Schneider,
have been appointed to the position of city clerk.
have been appointed to the position of city clerk.
Swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
Swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution
Mine's
of the State
on.
of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
to the best of my ability, so help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard. Welcome back.
Yeah. Okay. To the swearing in of Molly, so we will move on to number 5, citizens' comments. Who would like to be? Susie, you were first.
Promise won't talk on my phone when I'm speaking here. Susie Thompson, 700 Milwaukee Street. I put out information that I picked up at Dick's Bait Shop on Saturday. You can get this brochure free at Dick's Bait Shop. There is contact information for DNR, which is also helpful. They gave me tons of information on boating and on fishing and things that I didn't know, and they couldn't believe how many rapid-fire questions I asked. But some of you are used to that. A couple days ago, I had a very interesting experience. I spent 2 hours on Genesee Street near St. John's New Park, going across the river. By the way, in the little tributary that comes off of the old mill house, there was a mama muskrat who was obviously nursing or getting ready to deliver, but I think she's already nursing. She's really pretty, but then I found out how invasive muskrats can be to our waterfront, and so I looked at it as a double-edged sword. Anyway, she was really cute, but she's definitely got a lot of babies. Then as I went across the bridge and was going east on the river between Genesee and the dam, there were approximately 30 to 32 fish that were 26 to 28 inches in length. They were spawning. I purposely wore shorts. You all know that I wear short shorts. I have tattoos that are photos of my koi fish from Elm Grove, Phoenix, and Brookfield. I've had 3 koi ponds, And I have bred koi fish, only I named them wrong. The girls are boy names and boys are girl names because I got it totally wrong when I learned about koi fish. Anyway, when you have the girls and the boys, you do have spawning, and the spawning does make the bubbles in the river. So I noticed first the bubbles in the river, and then I saw how many fish, and they were huge. I still don't know what they were, but there were 2 different varieties. According to people I met at Dick's, everybody gave me different ideas. Some will repeat. Anyway, they were huge. I've seen fish in the river before when they're swimming upstream spawning. I never saw that many huge fish. And when people saw me watching, I said, look at how big the fish are and how many there were. And a lot of people came to watch and they said they'd never seen that many big ones before. So that was really cool. But then as I went up the hill at the dam, then I saw something totally different. There were hundreds, if not thousands. I think there were at least a couple thousand, if not more, fingerlings, which are 3 to 4 inch fish. They were all the way from the dam around that 8-foot floating wood thing that you can jump across the rocks. Very scary to do with a little doggy, but she liked doing it. And there were hundreds and thousands of little fish. And then as we went farther north to where that T-shaped decking is, that it says, you cannot swim or boat up to there, there were even more fish. I saw turtles, I saw crawdads, and frogs. So there were frogs out, and there were frogs jumping in the water. So that was really cool. And then we walked around, continuing north. There's that wooded area. There are a lot of trees down in there, but there are also, there's a lot of growth in there. There's some bad trees that personally, like buckthorn, I don't like. Anyway,
Susie,
but
excuse me, you're
there's
at
okay.
4 minutes, so you want to wrap it
Okay,
up.
there's some really good stuff there. But then I went on to the St. John's Pier that says private, like you're not supposed to be there. I spent over an hour there. There were crawdads that were like 5 inches long. The bodies are brown. The arms are blue with white around the edge. I found out that that's an unusual and possibly protected. I don't know. I'm talking to the DNR tomorrow. I did talk to fishermen at Dick's Bait Shop. There were also some snails. It's not the bad snails. It's good snails that the fish eat. And I saw fish coming up by the wet boathouse. There was about 3 bushel baskets of them, and they're not the bad snails, they're the good ones. So I saw a lot of very interesting things along there. If you want to see it, go along there because stuff is still happening. Thanks.
Great, thank you for your
Thank you,
comments.
Susie.
Okay, who'd like to be next? Sir in the blue? Jim, come on up.
Make any difference?
I know that one's on for sure.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jim Ryer, and I live at 924 Lake Drive, City of Delafield. I'm also the current chairperson of Park and Recreation Commission, and I've been in that capacity since 2017. Been on the Park and Rec Commission since 2013, and so I will get closer.
Yeah.
Thank you. When I came here to Delafield, the reason I'm telling you this is because I want to talk about the plan, the strategic plan 2020 to 2014, which will be part of the legacy left to the city of Delafield long after I'm gone, and actually long after everybody else is gone. So it was very important that this document be done in an accurate, authentic way that reflects the city of Delafield and its natural abundant resources and how to preserve those resources. In so doing, I want you to know that the best interest of the city of Delafield was taken primary. Not individuals, not groups, the city as a whole, which has always been my motto since I started working on the Park and Recreation Commission and the Plan Commission. I also started with Chris Smith, former chairperson of Park and Rec, and Alderman, Friends of Bark River. So the Friends of Bark River and the Park and Recreation Commission have worked hand in hand through my direction and following Chris Smith, resulting in this 89-page document, which took significant time and represents a demographic and also represents a input from all different people and places and things in Delafield. And it also incorporates the 2030 City Comprehensive Plan, which we want to follow. So with that in mind, based upon all those collaborative efforts, I want to say thanks to the commissioners, my fellow commissioners, who helped me in putting this together. Because I think the 89 pages were hard-worked pages. And I want you to know that the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. And thanks to my daughter to check on me. But I want you to take a look at it and take a look at page 74 as a conclusion. I think you'll like it. And if you look at page 76 to 79, you're going to see the accomplishments that we've done over 4 pages. And I want you to see that the goals that have been set forth for the next round, which is on pages 10 to 12. So those specific goals are laid out for this commission to follow up on and work together with other people in the community so it can make Delafield truly the enjoyable place it is and should be. So I want to also say a big thanks to Chris Smith, who really introduced me to both Friends of Bark River, which we worked together, and a Park and Recreation Commission. And he had guided me in the initial time I was here. And I'm hoping that I've been able to do the same for the other commissioners that I've inherited in my stay and work as the Park and Recreation Commission leader. Now, leadership has got a lot of different ways to interpret it, but I think it's important to continue the stability and continue the direction of success we've had so far with the Park and Recreation Commission, working with other commissioners, working with other staff. And I would also say the city staff have been very, very helpful with the Park and Recreation Commission in getting things done. So I also want to tell you that the whole concept is a team. So we want you to know that this 89-page document outlining our 5-year plan, 20 to 24, is based upon a team. It's a good team, the Park and Recreation Commission. I really believe in them, and hopefully I've been able to give them some advice along the way. And I want everybody to know here that success breeds success, and I think we've been successful up to this point, and we hope to continue it in the future. Now, having said that, keep in mind the substance, the one near and dear to my heart, is the trails, destinations, and connections. And we've tried to assimilate and organize to make it easy to read, easy to understand for anybody coming here and wanting to know what's hot in Delafield. Well, the hot is anything you want to do with the natural resources. We've got such a special place here, and if you'll notice at the end of the report, on the conclusion section, the last paragraph, I address it and say, basically, enjoy Delafield. It's a special place. And we want to maintain it to be a special place. And we've done everything we can do as a Park and Recreation Commission, and I've devoted a labor of love to this document. I've devoted a labor of love to this community because I think it is special, and we should all feel thankful that we have it and preserve it and protect it and not be aligned with any one group or one person. It is what's in the best interests of the city of Delafield. Now, having said that, my passion, I think you can understand, is very authentic and real. This isn't just a daylight event. It's nighttime too. So I hope you join with me and adopt this plan. I believe it works well, and I hope you're proud of it as I am in putting it together, because it means a lot. It's going to be here long after I'm gone, which could be tomorrow, but it won't be. At any rate, I just want you to know that from my standpoint and my experience, and keep in mind, the commissioners that work with me on this represent 60 years of experience on Park and Recreation Commission to put this together. 60 years. That's a collaborative effort you want to rely on. And there's no substitute for experience. None. So we want this success to continue and do the right thing. Do the right thing. And I hope that you'll have the opportunity to share this with other people. And if you have ever any questions about it or what it represents, to feel free to contact me. I really, as hard as it was, When I got it done, I looked back and I said, we really got a great place here. Don't let it go. Preserve it and love it. It's a good deal here. Do the right thing. Thank you very much. Appreciate all the time on this and your patience on it. And it's not the first plan that was done, which took a lot more time than planned in the first place. And I want to thank the chairs again, Chris Smith, former chair, and former chair Pat Barwig, and all the commissioners with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, sir in the blue, I think you had your hand up before.
Hi, my name is Tim Holt. I live at 731 Mill Street. My parents bought that in 1960, and I've been living there for the last 25 years with my family and my wife. I'm here to discuss the boat slips that are being talked about and being put in St. John's Bay. I hear 16 or 20, and I think that's a terrible idea. My neighbors all think it's a terrible idea. That bay is used a lot for wakeboards, for canoes, for kayaks, for fishing, and you have that many boats coming in and out that's going to totally destroy that, especially on the weekend. You got 16 boats going back and forth. The noise that's going to happen with that, the partying that's going to be going on, is going to be terrible. The noise carries over the water for miles, and I'm totally against it. It's going to totally destroy what I've seen for the last 60 years on that property. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Great, thank you for your comments. Okay, who'd like to be next, Tim?
Hello, I'm Tim Turnock, 304 Fieldstone Road. I just have a few comments. I realize it's the mayor's decision to change committee assignments, chairman assignments, as they become due. However, after some further review, I would ask the mayor to consider a reevaluation of the Park and Rec Commission chair. I think Jim Ryer has served well as the chairman of the Park and Rec Department. He has done untold volunteer hours, much more than any successor would be able to do. Taking his place, he was instrumental in starting the Friends of the Bark River, which ended up resulting in a grant that the city received to construct the addition plaza onto St. John's Park, which would have never happened previous to that. He is the main author of the well-received 5-year plan. Even though he tried to deflect some of that to his committee, he spent hours on that. He's initiated many improvements into the Delafield Park system. Clearly, he's the leader of the Park and Rec Commission. He is an asset to the city that would be a great loss if he was removed. I'm hoping that, for the sake of the smooth running of the Park and Rec Department Commission, that the mayor and Jim could sit down and meet and come up with a workable compromise. This would work out for what we'd all like to see. That is what's best for the city. Thank you.
Thank you for the comments. Come on up, Pat.
Good evening. My name is Pat Barwig. I live at 1832 West Shore Drive in Delafield. I'm a 15-year member of the Commission, of Park and Rec Commission, and I've seen a lot of Park and Rec 5-year plans come and go. I was trying to count them up, I think 4. That doesn't make sense, but this one is at the end of the 15 years. So, I was chair when one of them was put together. And comparing the one that I did with the one that you have in your hands now, I have to say, you got a better one now than you did when I did it. When I did it, it was normal to ask every commissioner to do a certain park. And all of us took a park. And some of us never turned in our papers, so I went around to all the parks that weren't being covered and wrote it myself. And then I wrote everything else. And I felt like it was a term paper I had to get turned in. I was still working 80 hours a week. I hadn't retired yet. And so I didn't have time to chase the unwilling or the unable. As a result, the one that I did is not an inclusive plan. It didn't include everybody else's ideas. It was essentially a one-woman show. What happened this time was that Jim chose me for my ancient wisdom, and Sherry for her incredible computer skills and organizational ability, and we worked pretty darn hard. We sort of came a cropper in the summer when we were suddenly informed that we had to all put fiscal notes on our plans. I sat on a bed in a Paris hotel with my iPad trying to get that all done and in on time. Not everybody else was quite as driven by deadlines as I was, and things were not being turned in on time. Jim, rather than just say, psh, and doing it himself the way I did, which is not the right way to do it, kept after people, and when we would have had it done, had we had everything together with the fiscal notes, we were hit with a pandemic. As a result, the work sort of ground to a halt for a while. I, in particular, was unavailable. I have being old, fat, diabetic, hypertensive, and with kidney disease, and I was damned if I was going out of the house. So that sort of slowed us down. Anyhow, it's finally done. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of Jim. Jim and I locked horns at the beginning. But we got over that, mostly because he's a good egg and worked to get over it. And one of the things nobody's mentioned is Liberty Park. He was in the midst of the Liberty Park foundation so that we can have a pavilion, a band shell, all that business in Liberty Park. The things Jim has thrown himself into for the community are much more than I ever did when I was chair. Chris Smith was another exemplary chair who had a mission and a purpose and accomplished a lot of things, and then moved away because it was more work than any one person could keep up with. That's not why he moved, but it sure helped. I'm not moving, Jim's not moving. I'm never going to be chair again, just so we're all clear. Never. It was probably one of the worst times of my life. And I used to do surgery on pregnant ladies. I hated that job. So, and when the last time we looked around to see who wanted to be chair, when it was time for elect the chair, everybody else did the old military step backwards, and Jim was left standing there. I don't know who will be chair if Jim is to leave. I'm the first one to step back, however. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Mike Burns at 148 South Laurel Circle in Delafield. I also want to just speak in favor of Jim Ryer. I met Jim 25 years ago practicing law with him at a firm in Milwaukee. And Jim's a passionate guy. He was passionate back then, taught me a lot about practicing law and relationships and client management. And many, many years later, as our careers kind of went different paths, we wound up here in Delafield. And he, knowing some of the passion I have for outdoors and sharing his passion with the outdoors, asked me to become part of the Park and Rec Commission. And it's been a great experience for me to kind of learn from Jim and see his passion for the city of Delafield, see his passion for the outdoors, the parks that we all enjoy, the work that he's done and led really with the opening up of the Bark River and his partnership with the Friends of the Bark River. And obviously, as some of the other commissioners have mentioned as well, really just a passion for the connectivity of trails. And so I do think that the city will miss having Jim be a part of the Park and Rec Commission, and we'll miss his leadership and his passion if we don't have that. And so anyway, just wanted to make sure that I came in here and supported who is a great person and also a great friend. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Anyone else? Any other comments? All right, seeing none, citizens' comments are now closed, and we'll move on to 6A, approval of the minutes of March 15th.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes.
Just, let's do more.
Who did it first?
I'm sorry. I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Okay. All right, 7, boards and commissions. Let's see. A, Lake Country Fire and Rescue Board, Mr. Grimmer.
We had a meeting on the 25th. A couple items I'll bring to the attention of the council. The board. The board took no action on the release of draft documents, draft minutes, essentially. The board thought it was an undue burden. Other municipalities are comfortable with the current distribution of minutes, and the board wants to approve minutes before releasing. And they committed to releasing and completing those minutes in a timely manner. The second thing I'd like to bring up is there are 2 vehicles that are due for sale, a truck that is owned by Shaniqua and Nashotah, and then a 2012 Chevy ambulance. The chassis belongs to Lake Country Fire and Rescue. The box on top belongs to Delafield. That's it. Any questions on those items?
Yeah, so just the minutes. So can you, the draft, can you say that again? I guess maybe I didn't quite
There was a
understand.
request from Steve to get the draft minutes submitted so he could post them.
Yes,
The board took no action on that request.
okay. So that
Yeah,
means
he
we-
also asked that the library board typically didn't submit minutes until after the board had approved them, but now we just submit them as draft
draft.
minutes, so.
So just so I'm clear, is the board going to submit the draft minutes or no?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, got it.
They're comfortable with their workflow as it exists now.
Okay, got it. Thank you for
Sure.
clarifying. All right, we will move on to 7B, Lake Welfare Committee. Phil?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There are several things on the agenda that are ongoing. There's really only one that's noteworthy at the time, and that is the discussion of the St. John's Bay Pier. The Common Council has directed the Lake Welfare Committee to examine that and consider it, and if deemed necessary, come up with operational.
Talking to your mic, hon.
Thank you. Okay. So the ongoing discussion is with the St. John's Pier, and the Common Council has charged the Lake Welfare Committee with looking at that, evaluating if the feasibility basically of the pier is good or not, and then if it is, following up, trying to come up with operational kind of rules or regulations or the like. We're currently at the point where we're trying to, I think, function a little better as a committee to take a look at it as a committee, as was mentioned with the Park and Rec Commission here, to get the input of more people and look at the ideas and evaluate them. Currently, a lot of the issues that have been brought up are just being answered, and I believe need to be delved into more deeply. So the next meeting, we'll be taking a look at that again, and it's possible there may be a resolution coming out of that, or some kind of motion coming out of the next meeting. Otherwise, it will be June.
Okay, great. Thank you for the update. Okay, see, Library Board. Ms. Valdi.
All right, I just clicked out of my notes, so give me a second here, and I will. Really? You can't hear me? Really?
Talking to the mic.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, just give me a moment here. I clicked on the wrong thing, and I had them up and ready, but of course, they're not there yet. So where did they go? Very funny. Here we go. Got them. Here's a reminder. There are, can you hear me now? Okay. 3 computers are now available for public use in the library. There's a 2-hour time limit. You need a library card. If you don't have one, you can get one on the site. They are also going to be opening study rooms for use very soon. So check back on our library's website or social media pages for more information. Another reminder, unsure of what to read next, the library can choose curated picks for both adults and kids. This has been very popular throughout the pandemic, which is pretty cool. Now that museums and other places are reopening, the library has passes for some pretty cool things like the Art Museum and the Milwaukee County Zoo. And I think there's a couple of others. So you can contact the library and check them out. I believe it's for 3 days. And so you don't have to go immediately and run them back, but they're very popular, and the purchases have been made through the Friends of the Library. So that's pretty cool. And beginning May 1st, this is kind of cool too. You can enjoy an outdoor movie in the library's back parking lot with our drive-in movies. Stay in the comfort of your car, use your car radio to listen. And between 8 p.m. and sunset, they're going to have games and photo ops and props. The movie will begin after sunset. Attendees are encouraged to bring their own snacks and drinks, open to all and very family friendly. That's it for now.
Great, thank you. Okay, we are on to Park and Recreation Commission. Mr. Grimmer again.
Park and Rec had a meeting on the 22nd. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend. I will refer you to the minutes.
Great, thank you. Okay, E, Planning Commission, Mr. Eicher.
Okay, so I'll lead with one thing. We've got signs in the city about stop development, whatever. It's in the paper. That is going to be at a public, the topic is going to be at a public hearing on April 28th. So if you're interested in talking about potential developments at the former Seven Seas site, please look at the city packet and what the actual proposal is going to be discussed on, and we'll be talking about that at the end of the month. And aside from that, we've had, just in general, we've had a good amount of activity of businesses moving in and opening up. You've seen the different fitness places opening up, ice cream shops, all sorts of different things getting approved. So where there have been vacancies, we've got applicants and people moving in. So just keep your eyes open, and where there might have been a dark door before, just pull it open, and there's probably someone in there looking for your business. So it's been, despite what the pandemic brought, it's been very encouraging to see the type of activity we've had as far as new businesses in general. And then we've got 3 things here that are for our approval tonight. Another good sign. So item 2A is for the Delafield Hotel ID. If you recall, late last summer, they started a Music on the Hill event, and they're trying to be real responsible with what was going on with COVID and that, and moved an event outdoors. And it was a big success. We gave them approval on a trial basis, and they passed with flying colors. It was very popular, and they looked for something more permanent now, which was fully recommended and unanimously to come before us, and that's to have a weekly music event out on the hill just north of ID, looking down toward Hawks Inn. So you can get a drink, a beverage, or just listen to the music. So I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to their existing conditional use permit for 415 South Genesee Street for the outdoor special events on a recurring basis as unanimously approved by the Plan Commission.
I'll second.
Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes.
And then next one, I believe item 2B is regarding ordinance number 779. I think it started with a recommendation from Lake Welfare Committee, and it's to create an impervious surface definition to help our building inspector out as far as kind of hard surfaces on and near the lake. And so we took a lot of input, took our time, and came up with a plan with our new planner and a new ordinance. And the ordinance is in the packet, and I will make a motion to approve the impervious surface ordinance number 779.
I will second that motion.
Great. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes.
And item 2C, as if it wasn't sold well enough already, the Park and Recreation Strategic Plan, as great as it is to help us understand what the resources the city has and how we need to invest in them to not just maintain them, but just realize potential. It's a really invaluable tool for the city for that budgeting purposes, as well as DPW for understanding how the parks are being used, but also for the Plan Commission when we are deliberating over new developments and how land use is going to impact the community and what kind of needs that new development might have. So it's an important tool for us, and we embraced it, and I am enthusiastically endorsing it like the Plan Commission did, and I am making a motion to approve the Park and Recreation Strategic Plan for 2020 to 2024.
I'll second that.
Great. Is there any discussion?
Well, other than to say thank you for the amazing, thorough work. I was privileged enough to serve on Parks and Rec for a short time, and they are unbelievably professional. I can't believe they're not getting paid. And we are very fortunate to have such amazing souls. So thank you.
Great. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes.
And with that, I'll just reinforce, we've got a meeting on Wednesday, April 28th. And that would be it.
Okay, we'll move on to F, promotion and tourism. Mr. Barron.
Well, we had a meeting, and at this point, we're still hoping that the census will start picking up and we'll have some more revenue. The current members of the Promotion and Tourism Commission would really like to get more data on the payback on various advertising. Now that we've cut back to save money, the question is, where do we go first in the future? So that question is constantly being brought up. One thing to note, just kind of under announcements, first of all, I did mention the money that's coming in and warning them that we would be following the guidelines of all the cities in the state as to how we're going to allocate that money. And maybe some of it will cover some lost revenues. But they hadn't heard about it, so I mentioned it. It's in the minutes. St. John's Northwestern had an Easter egg hunt on Easter Day, Sunday, and they had over 1,000 people attend.
Wow.
And it was just kind of, I'm sure they didn't have enough eggs, but it's just like how much people are itching to get out. So if we can have these community events that are safe, there's a lot of customers. And I will say something about myself. I attended Easter egg hunts in Cushing Park when I was 6 or 7 years old, which was 60 55, 60 years ago. And I remember we would drive over here from Heartland. A lot of us came from Heartland. And we knew a lot of people in Delafield even back then. Anyway, I was amazed at that report. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. Okay, G, Public Works. The meeting was canceled, so I assume no report there. Discussion and possible action on the following item: consideration of awarding contracts A and B for the 2021 Street Improvement Program to Wolf Paving in the amount of $136,491.25.
I will make that motion. I know it's within budget.
I'll second.
Okay, Tom, anything to add or any discussion?
No, we were really pleased with the bids we received. We did try to break the contract out into 2 contracts in hopes that some of the smaller contractors might have been more competitive on the parking lot project. As it turns out, with Wolf and Payne and Dolan, the only 2 contractors that make their own asphalt, and all the rest of the contractors reliant upon them for the asphalt, they're just unable to be competitive. But it was good to give that a try and see what we could do. But we were very pleased with the pricing we got from Wolf Paving and recommend award.
Great. Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Okay, we're on to the number 8, Mayor's Report. Discussion possible action on the following items. A1, consideration of setting a date to begin enforcing the City of Delafield sign ordinances as our community transitions out of COVID's temporary no enforcement process. So I put this under my report. I'd like to get the council's feedback on setting a date sometime in the future where we can get back to enforcing the ordinances as we have in the past. I want to transition out of it. I want to give the businesses some time to get used to it. The problem as I see it is that, the Skype signs, the banner signs, and all the things they were doing to try to generate business when they didn't have as much traffic coming in and so forth. Staff and myself, let all those rules become very lax, virtually no enforcement whatsoever. But as we're transitioning out of it, if you travel around the city today, there are many, many, many signs that are just over the top. One of the examples is we've got 2 or 3 different hair cutting places in the facility, and they're in some kind of battle with each other. If you haven't noticed, they're putting all their signs for their business in front of the other ones, right? And it's just going back and forth. And the one so I'd like to talk about a date. I don't know what the right date is. Is it June 1st? Is it July 1st? I'd like to notice them so they're aware that it's coming and give them some time. But one thing I think maybe we want to keep as an exception is something, again, temporary, but help wanted. The ability of these folks to get people who are receiving federal and state funds for COVID relief, unless you're roughly making over $20 an hour, they're basically paying you to stay home until September of this year. So service industries can't get people to come and be employees. So if we're lax on anything moving forward, if they want to, and it's on their property, help wanted signs, maybe we keep making exceptions for those, for a greater period of time. But I'd like to hear your comments or suggestions.
I think a 6-week, heads up, June 1st is an appropriate timeline, and I'm comfortable making an exception for the help wanted signs.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and it's April 19th, so there's plenty of time. If you give someone a June 1, just sort of tuck it up and be consistent with the sign laws outside of help wanted, I think that's a very reasonable time frame in my mind.
This isn't an action item, though.
No, I don't think it's just really an enforcement of policy,
Yes.
looking for your feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Has this gone with anybody else as far as perhaps tourism or commerce to get their feedback yet as far as how to perhaps implement it?
So for promotion and tourism?
Yeah.
No, I haven't talked to.
I don't think that really applies to us so much. The hotels may have a temporary sign or two right now too. But I think the overall goal is the quality of living here also is not to have clutter.
Right.
So at some point, it helps individual businesses, but in total, they can detract. So we want to get back to where we follow the rules. So I don't see any, I appreciate the request, but I don't think, from our perspective.
I just thought the chamber as well as tourism.
Yeah, I think that the best thing will be that everyone has a fair notice, so you may have to generate a letter or email or something.
Okay, great. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, however staff thinks getting notice out will work. I'm good with what Alderman Grimmer said, it was June 1st or July 1st, just to give people a heads up. And as for there is one offender on the help wanted sign. There's a plethora of signs on Gulf Road in front of and
It's gotta be on their property.
For anybody who doesn't know, Marshall's is hiring. But so that's one where there's about six hiring signs. So just a little bit of staff discretion and just working with the business owners to make them understand what we're trying to accomplish. Because, and I get it, F45. There's another one of the businesses by Best Buy that opened up. It's a fitness place. They're brand new, so they opened up. They put in some signs, but they put in a lot. And we have a windy spring, and
Yep.
signs are all cockeyed, and it does look a little disheveled. And that's not what we want to portray. So I think everyone will understand. So I'm all for it. And I think the kind of the look the other way for another couple of months on the help wanted is a good call.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, we will go on to B. Appointment by the mayor of the following individuals as members of the Economic Development Land Use Review Focus Group. Just some comments in general. I think we have a really balanced group here. Again, some folks that are probably leaning more towards making development sooner rather than later, and some other folks that prefer the status quo. So I think we've got a good balance here between the appointees. Also try to make sure we're representing all the districts, because it's about land use, not just downtown or just Highway 83 and 94. It's about all of the city of Delafield. So I'm really think this is a quality group of people. All have committed to being at all of the meetings. One or two people might have to do one by Skype, but they're all enthusiastic about participating, and I look forward to their results and their recommendations to the Planning Commission and the City Council.
I just have one question. Do you not like girls?
No, I do like girls.
I mean, I'm strong. I can take it. Look, anyway, that was the only thing that leaped out at me.
Trust me, it jumped out at me too. I mean, sometimes
you could just call me Jack and I'd fit in with everything. It's all right. No, I know how hard it is, and I appreciated it because I could see that you had all these different districts, and having talked to you, I knew you were trying to get a balance of people whose perspective on development were diverse. And then it just so happened when I looked at all the names, I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. That's all. I appreciate it. Wasn't easy.
There was a couple of invites to couples as well, so it's just who decided to throw their hat in too. So
yes.
Well, you've never been accused of being easily intimidated.
No.
I think it's a great slate of candidates, and our own Jackie is on there. So I'll make a motion to approve the slate of candidates as identified in the agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Okay, we are on to 9, new business. A, consideration of creating an advisory committee for the purpose of establishing a Citizens Volunteer Organization Award Program. I believe this is yours, Phil.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. having been here a year, I've come to recognize that contributions that everybody has made to this, and a lot of people really put a lot into this city. And I just thought there's a lot of citizens that should be recognized. So I would just like to develop a committee to take a look at criteria for nominating somebody, what the nomination would actually mean, how it would be done, would it be done on a regular basis, those kinds of things, just to look at having a subcommittee for that purpose. And maybe it's not a good idea, but I just thought at the very least, put a committee together, just a few people to see what could come of it.
I love the idea, frankly. I think there are so many people, and having been on council for 8 years, I'm just amazed and blown away by all of the dedicated souls that populate all of our committees. They're smart, they're hardworking, and they really care, and they're working for free. And that's pretty amazing. And that's what makes the city really function as well as it does. So I'm sorry I didn't think of it.
Well,
But I appreciate it. Thank you, Phil.
I think it's a great idea, but I'll throw out a suggestion, or at least something to consider, and that would be perhaps to promote it more in the form of something that's in our citywide newsletter, like an online, like a nomination.
That's a great idea.
Just kind of just an open public nomination process that maybe perhaps even a form in the staff office upstairs. And then just have it be dropped into the alderman's hands or alderperson's hands in the district that the person's nominated from. So we can go make sure that they're appropriately recognized. I've never had an issue. I've only done it 3 times, I think, where I've brought somebody front and center and we've given a commendation, from the city. But it's pretty straightforward as long as you know where to find the mayor. We can just get it on the agenda and do something at the council level. But that's just a thought as far as how to get it out there, and maybe put a hey, who's doing good in your community, and have that on there. And I'd be happy to work with you.
Okay.
On for the next city newsletter, because we're gonna have to. Molly's gonna have to do that pretty soon. I think. And then have something posted online too. Just an easy, hey, fill it out and then let's track them down. And the fear I have with a committee is getting people to spend time or organize meetings and maybe thinking there's a quota or something. You got to go find somebody. But I think if we just throw it out there to the public,
Your one thought
we'll get
would be,
people to nominate.
maybe do it on an annual basis and maybe have 2 or 3 formal meetings, so it isn't a monthly thing. So if you volunteer to be on the committee for this year's selections, and maybe you rotate there too, you're going to have 3 meetings in 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to collect all the data, maybe rank some, think about.
Well, and that's what I'd like to do.
And maybe it's between 5 and 10 a year that we're going to report out. And
So I'd like to propose, I'd like to actually make a motion to have an ad hoc subcommittee to look at this and to come up with a more formal procedure. So I'd make a motion for an ad hoc subcommittee for the purpose of establishing a citizen volunteer recognition award program.
I'll second it.
You want to address how that committee would be made up?
I would be open to ideas as far as balance and who would be on it. If it was just 3 alderpersons that would just get together, if there was any other suggestions, but that would be a starting point. Just address it in the next 60 days or so and come up with some ideas.
I would think it would be more, a question of sort of etching out the outlines in that meeting as opposed to what you want to do now, right?
Right. I'm just looking to establish a procedure so that it can be the form up there, and then it maybe isn't an ongoing committee, or maybe it is an ongoing committee, just to determine how that would happen. So just looking to see how the actual awards would be considered, not the individuals, but the recognition could be evaluated. So I'm just looking for probably just 3 people to help me come up with some ideas, and check in with the necessary people to see what's feasible, what's practical. Because I've gotten several ideas tonight, and that's what I'd like to, can't do them both, so.
Yeah, I can't imagine it being hard. I mean, I'm happy to jump in if there is a time I can find.
That's 2.
Phil makes the third.
Okay. That would be it.
I said I'd help, right?
Yeah.
I will, my hat's in the ring, and we've got a new alderperson starting tomorrow, so we'll see if she wants to unseat me, but I'd be willing to say I'm on board, unless Danielle wants to take my place.
And I'll volunteer Wayne.
Thank you, Wayne. Appreciate that.
Such a gift for missing.
All right. So is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes.
Thank you.
Okay. Tom, do you have the resolution one?
Yeah, in your packet, there is a model resolution that was written by the League of Wisconsin League of Municipalities. And they are taking up as one of their lobbying efforts the increase of state shared revenue with municipalities. State shared revenue has gone down significantly over the last couple of decades, and so that's a cause that they're taking up, and they have asked municipalities to consider passing this resolution and sharing it with our representatives. And basically it's asking the state to increase the share of state sales tax and state income tax that they share with municipalities.
Is there a funding formula that's proposed, or this is to be negotiated?
So the funding formula wouldn't change, it would just be changing the pot that gets split according to the funding formula.
Okay.
Could you clarify that one more time? Say that again, please. I'm sorry.
So
There's no, go
so
ahead.
there is a funding formula for
Yeah.
how municipalities receive the money.
Correct.
But the league is asking the state to increase the amount of money that gets put into that funding formula.
Right. So, money is fungible. And so if we're asking the state to increase shared revenue, we're asking them essentially to spend more, correct?
I think the idea is for them
allocate it
to,
differently, isn't it?
yeah, reallocate it back to how they used to spend.
They
instead
used to
of
do
how
it
they're-
one way and then they changed it, and that's killing the municipalities, frankly. That's why we keep having budget shortfalls, that's my understanding.
But the allocation would then cause them to have a shortfall.
I think the idea is for the state to spend less elsewhere.
Can we express that in the motion? Because if they're just going to increase spending if they're increasing shared revenue to us, they're making up the shortfall or not making up the shortfall by increasing spending over here. And so either I'm paying it to my local municipality because they didn't get an increased shared revenue, or I'm paying it to the state because they're spending more because they're giving more in shared revenue. It's a kind of borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and I'm getting hit either way, or we are getting hit either way.
Well, maybe. I'm certain that there's devils in the details, but
Absolutely.
but I know that there's a lot of municipalities that are petitioning for the state legislature to enable local sales tax, and I think that if this is a tool to dissuade them from thinking that's a good idea, I'm all for it, because that's essentially what we're doing. Is if we're taking sales tax and leaving it and distributing it more to the municipalities than is currently happening and what used to happen, there should be less of a reason for municipalities to require or to think they need a sales tax on a local level. I mean, that's what I would be hoping would come out of this type of a result. Like if they actually got the state to increase the shared revenue to levels at about what they were in the past. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I guess I'm with Matt and you. I'm just a little concerned. I don't understand what it means, and I have a hard time coming out and supporting it. If I don't understand what the exact plan is.
Right.
And sometimes the League of Municipality supports things that I would personally not support.
They're really good at that. They're really good at saying, no, they're very, very good at looking out for exactly who they're supposed to look out for, and that's municipalities. And not necessarily in defense, as you know, I mean, if you read the recommendations, it's not necessarily worried about whether or not it impacts an individual negatively, it's how does it enable municipalities to have more
Right,
authority,
and they
more
can take
power.
these resolutions and say, hey, we have 1,000 municipalities who support a change in the shared revenue formula. And how you make up the difference
Isn't our problem.
is not our problem. But give more money to us.
Yeah.
And all these municipalities support you.
But it changed when we were doing just fine and nobody complained about that. But it ended up hurting the municipalities significantly, and we're feeling the brunt of that. It isn't that the cities are irresponsible, it's that the funding formula changed and we had structured all of this functioning under a formula that they went, oh, no more. And therein lies the rub. It's not like suddenly, we're fiscally irresponsible. No, it's that the formula changed and it's killing us. So we're just asking them to return a little bit of sanity to their formula.
And I don't doubt that, and I agree with that. The only caveat is that I wouldn't want them to make up what they're giving back to the municipalities. I would want it as a pay-go.
No, I get what you're saying. I understand, yeah.
Okay.
I teach math, I get it.
Oh, I know. And I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
What?
But it's a vague resolution.
I'd be all for requesting our state representatives to issue a position statement on this to us.
Yeah.
And explain it in their terms why they think it'd be a good or bad idea. Because I don't understand, I don't necessarily understand the intricacies of the other things that they're juggling from a state budget level. I would be okay with a bigger check from the state to the city.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if that's coming at a cost that we don't know about, and that could be better explained by somebody who's seeing the state picture.
You might not like the League of Municipalities. I'm not sure I'm going to agree with what our representatives are going to tell us. So maybe if we get more detail from both, it would help.
That's true.
Awfully tough to isolate one variable in a budget of that magnitude.
Sure. What is it, 88 billion now or something like that?
See, one of my concerns about passing something like this is when they redo it, we may not even come out in the formula. And with that said, I do think big picture, if the state could pay more of our costs, it would be helpful. As Alderman Eicher said, then there's less push to have local option sales tax, things like that. But
it's just been a real double whammy for municipalities where they, come out with some of the most stringent levy limits in the country, and then at the same time decrease the amount of shared revenue that they share with municipalities, and it's just tough for the sustainability for municipal budgets.
so my motion would be that we send this resolution to our local state representatives and ask for their comment on it.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Okay, we will move on to 9C, resolution number 2021-07, resolution extending appreciation to District 1 Alderperson Doug Saloga. Tonight is Doug's last meeting, and I want to go ahead and read the resolution. Whereas Doug Saloga has served the city of Delafield as alderperson in District 1 from 2019 to 2021, and whereas through such public service he has contributed to the well-being of the city, and whereas he has been unselfish with his time and energy and his dedication to the city of Delafield and its constituents, and whereas he has served on the Police Commission and the Promotion and Tourism Commission, and whereas the Common Council desires to make a public declaration of appreciation for Doug Saloga's contribution to the city. Now therefore be resolved that a vote of appreciation and thanks be extended to Doug Saloga for his dedicated service as alderperson in District 1. Passed and adopted the 19th day of April 2021, signed by the Mayor of Delafield.
Did you know you were so good?
I'll make that,
I have to repeat that, do I?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Well, thank you. I'd like to personally thank you for your service and being my alderperson in District 1, Doug. I think you've done a great job and truly appreciate the time. And I know family commitments you've had to make to be able to do this and be on the different committees and stuff, so thank you.
Before we make the vote, can I have some comments? Yeah, so I do appreciate it. 2 years ago, I really wasn't looking at public service at all, and then we had a vacancy in our district, and with neighbors asked me to step up, and I said, yeah, this is something. I've been here 25 years, kind of knew some of the previous mayors and going through the process of building a house, like Kent mentioned and everything, and I said, yeah, I'd be interesting to get involved. And involvement is a key issue because it's involved, and I think it's important to. I'm very glad I did it. I think that every citizen should consider running for a position, either on a council position or a committee position or other engagement positions, to be involved in their city or their municipality, because you do learn a lot. You meet great people. I had the pleasure to meet all of you. I really appreciate it. We've had some contentious issues, and I want to say that I really respect all of your civility, respect for each other, professionalism, how each of you purport yourself to each other in the public. We've had some visual issues, and everyone's been very, very professional. I learned from that, and I appreciate it. So yeah, I want to thank you, for all your support and effort, and continue, and thank you for all your longer-term service than me. It is a commitment to the city. Thank you, and I want to congratulate Danielle as well. Thanks for, picking up the torch and carrying it on. So, but also with that also said, I think it's good that our district had a competition. We had vigorous debate, and we had a vote to make, and every vote mattered, and that's a good thing too to have.
You're here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Great, thank you. Alrighty, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Passes. Okay, D, approval of the voucher list.
Also move.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Report of city officials, city administrator.
Yeah, so this evening you appointed the task force for the economic development project, and I just wanted to make sure everyone understood. The first meeting of that focus group is Tuesday, April 27th. That'll be at 6:30 p.m. The project website is live. The web address for that is www.delafieldgrowth.com, so please take a look at that. And lastly, on that website, our public engagement is also live. There's 2 surveys that we'd like the public to take, both residents and business owners. When you go onto the website, under the public engagement tab, you'll see a public opinion survey and a visual preference survey. And we are asking that Common Council members, Plan Commission members, and Task Force members, please do not take that survey online. The Council and the Planning Commission have taken it already, so we don't want to duplicate your responses and the results. And then the Task Force members, they will take it at one of their meetings as well. So, any questions on that? Okay. The only other thing that I wanted to add is we do have another council meeting tomorrow evening. It's the annual organizational meeting, same place, an hour earlier, 6 o'clock, and that'll be for the appointment of the committees and whatnot, and it'll be the first meeting of the new council with Danielle Henry sitting in.
Pressure's on.
That's all I have this evening.
Great. City clerk report?
There were a few memos included in the packet from Steve. Mary, we can't hear you. There were a few memos from Stephen in the e-packet. I don't have anything to.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Great. All right, we will move on to city treasurer, February 2021 treasurer's report. Are we voting on that, or are we just making people see it, or?
That's just
it's not an
in the
action
packet
item.
for.
You're filing it.
For your information.
Okay. All right, D, council requests for future agenda items. Any requests? All right, come up with others, reach out to staff. All right, seeing no further business, we are now adjourned at 8:10 PM. Thank you, everyone, for coming.